Welcome to Ontario, where homes are more than just places to live. They are sanctuaries of security and comfort. But behind every door lies a complex web of rights and responsibilities governed by the Residential Tenancies Act 2006. Welcome viewers to an insightful exploration of the Residential Tenancies Act 2006, brought to you by 6 dynamic groups which includes Sudeep Gurung, Sudeep Bodathoki, Asim Mandari, Sudan Dhakal, Aryan Maharjan and Kiran BK. Together, we embark on a journey to understand the impact and significance of this crucial legislation on our renting experiences. This pivotal legislation serves as the cornerstone of landlord-tenant relations in the province, ensuring fairness and protection for both parties. Its significance cannot be overstated as it lays down the framework for renting residential properties, defining the rights and obligations of landlords and tenants alike. Whether you are a landlord seeking to maintain your property's integrity or a tenant searching for stability and respect, understanding the Residential Tenancies Act is essential. From rent increases to eviction procedures, it is the compass guiding every rental transaction. Join us as we delve into the intricate tapestry of rights and regulations that shape the landscape of Ontario's rental market. Together, let us navigate the Residential Tenancies Act 2006 and unlock the keys to harmonious living arrangements for all.
Let's talk about the rights. As a tenant, you realize you have rights. After all, this isn't medieval Europe, last I checked. But you might know what those rights actually are, which means you can potentially be exploited by a landlord. Not a good thing, right? First, a tenant is an equal party with the landlord, which means that no rental agreement can be forced on you. You should walk through and examine the premises fully before signing any types of agreement. Once that agreement is signed, there is no grace period for a cancellation. You are bound immediately, and all the money that given in advance to the landlord will most likely to be non-refundable, even if you don't end up moving into the place. With that being said, once a tenant has signed a lease, a landlord-tenant relationship is formed, which is governed by the provisional status. As a tenant, you have the rights to privacy and peace in your rented home and apartment. Your landlord may enter only to inspect the premises or make repairs, and even then, unless there is an emergency, only if the landlord gives you reasonable notice and comes at the convenient time. The property must also have working plumbing, hot water and heating. It must be pest-free, reasonably secure, structurally sound, for those strugglers who don't like their homes falling apart. If a landlord have an issue with you, for example, non-payment of rent or property damage, the landlord must inform you in writing. And if you don't correct it after being told in writing, then and only then can landlord take you to the court. The same is required if you want to take legal action against your landlord. And if the landlord neglects some of their basic responsibilities, then you can withhold rent depending on the severity of the situation. And a landlord cannot force you out by shutting off utilities, changing the locks and like that. And if you have a deposit with the landlord, it must be returned within 15 days of your leaving. If not, they have 30 days to state in writing why they aren't returning it. If no notice is given within that time, the landlord must return the deposit in full immediately.
So I'm gonna talk about some of the key provisions of Residential Act 2006. So firstly, rent control. What is rent control? Rent control refers to a government policies and regulations designed to limit the amount landlords can charge for the rent. These types of policies put in place to address housing affordability concern and prevent excessive rent increases. It involves putting a cap on how much a landlord can charge for a rent at a certain property. When the rent is controlled, landlords cannot unfairly raise the price each year. These caps are usually tied to a certain percentage increase, often based on the factors like inflation rates or local economic conditions. Some rent policies also involve setting maximum rents. Rent control typically sets a maximum limits These types of policies are strict and can significantly limit a landlord's ability to increase the rents. In some cases, rent control might also include provisions related to eviction procedures. So the other topic is tenant rights. Some of the tenant rights are right to receive a signed copy of a tenancy agreement, right to receive a condition report, right to quiet enjoyment of the property. The property must be clear, maintained and suitable for living in. Repairs are done within a reasonable time frame, right to receive bond back once the tenancy has ended. And here are some of the landlord rights. Right to receive a damage or rental bond, right to receive rent on time, right to be able to complete inspections of the property. The tenant keep property maintained and clean. The tenant report any damage or necessary repairs. Right to claim a portion of the bond where damage is done to the property. So the other main key provision for Residential Act 2006 is maintenance standards. Now let's talk about the living conditions. The Act mandates that landlords maintain their properties to specific standards. This ensures that your home remains safe and habitable space. From plumbing to heating, these standards are designed to protect your well-being. Moving on to a crucial provision, eviction rules. The Act outlines specific circumstances under which a landlord can ask a tenant to leave. It provides a fair process for both parties, protecting tenants from unjust eviction while allowing landlords to address legitimate concerns. So these are all about some of the main key provisions of Residential Act 2006. So if you are evicting without a cause, give advance notice that your state requires. So without the advance notice, if you move further with the eviction process, and finally if the tenant is correct, then the landlord who moved the further eviction process, they might get in trouble and have to pay certain penalties for the action they have taken. So this is all about some of the key provisions of Residential Act 2006. I hope I could make all of you clear about the Residential Act. Thank you.
So here are some practical implications in real life scenario through various case study and examples. The first one, rent increase and rent control. Practical implication. The RTA often include provisional related to rent increase and rent control, limiting how much landlord can raise rent annually to ensure affordability and sustainability for tenants. Case study, in Ontario, Canada, the RTA sets out guidelines for rent increases. For example, in 2022, the maximum allowable rent increase was 1.2% for rent controlled unit, ensuring that tenants are protected from sudden rent hikes. The second one is maintenance and repairs. Practical implication. Landlords are required by the RTA to keep their rental premises habitable and to fix any issues as soon as they arise. Case study. Landlords in the United States are required by the implicit warranty of habitability, which is frequently codified in state laws that closely resemble the RTA, to furnish and maintain livable conditions. For instance, to comply with the RTA's maintenance standard, the landlord is required to fix a leaky roof as soon as a tenant reports it. The third one is security deposit. Practical implication. The RTA may regulate the collection, handling, and return of security deposit, protecting tenants from unfair practices. Case study. In Australia, the Residential Tenancy Act 1997 Victoria outlined strict guidelines regarding security deposit. For example, landlords are required to deposit security deposit with a bond authority that has been approved by the government and refund the deposit, less any allowable deduction for damages within a certain amount of time at the end of the tenancy. So these are the practical implications with example that we find in our case study.
In conclusion, the Residential Tenancies Act 2006 plays a crucial role in safeguarding the rights and interests of both landlords and tenants with the residential rental market by providing a comprehensive framework for tenancy agreement, lease term, and dispute resolution. The legislation establishes a fair and balanced relationship between parties involved in the rental process that promotes transparency, accountability.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope that you found it informative and useful. In this brief video, we have covered some of the key points of the Act, including the rights of tenants and the landlords as well as the responsibilities of both parties. We also touched upon some common issues that tenants face and the legal steps they can take to protect themselves. If you are interested in learning more or would like to discuss any aspect of the Act, please do not hesitate to reach out. Remember, staying informed is the key to ensuring a healthy and respectful living environment. Thank you again for watching, and we hope that this video has provided you with valuable insight into the Residential Tenancy Act 2006 Ontario.